What's up with my channel? I am DJ, aka Token Black, guiding for the first time. Hit that like button, subscribe button, truly appreciate it. So I did my review on the Marvels already, this non-spoiler review. We did mention that there are some post-credit scenes in the movie that were kind of important. So we want to go over New Rockstars and get a breakdown and explanation of what we saw in these post-credit scenes. Now, I personally was excited about the second one with Beast, and this first one that started with the what do you call it, the Young Avengers with Kate Bishop and everything was pretty cool. So but yeah, let's check it out. This is Eric Voss. Let's see what he got for us, and here we go.
Gus here. Okay, so in the Marvels film, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan all become cosmically entangled due to the three of them all sharing some light-based powers, meaning all three of them got their powers from the same source of cosmic radiation. This entanglement begins after the Kree General Dar-Benn discovered the other bangle on the planetoid MB418 and used it to tear holes in the jump point teleportation network. That's the hexagonal.
I understand. So like when what's her name, Miss Marvel, put both the bands on, why wasn't it too much power for her like other people? I never understood that part.
Previously known in the MCU as the UNT,
well,
we learned in this movie that the bangles are the quantum bands that were used to create these various jump points to travel across the galaxy. But by creating too many jump points, it's kind of like fracking, and it causes the shale of the universe to loosen and create these fissures in reality. Dar-Benn's goal, we learn, is to save the Kree homeworld of Hala, which has had its resources depleted from a civil war following the actions of Carol Danvers, whom they nicknamed the Annihilator, after she destroyed the Kree Supreme Intelligence. The sun of Hala's solar system is dying, and now Dar-Benn is using her quantum band to open portals in the Skrull colony of Tarnax.
That villain C was alright. He wasn't the best for me.
Aladna to take their water, and to Earth to take the power of our sun. Valkyrie cameos to take the surviving Skrulls, led by
I forgot about Valkyrie in the movie.
A new home, presumably New Asgard on Earth, which I assume is now a kind of protectorate following the American president's war declaration on all extraterrestrials on Earth in Secret Invasion. They use Carol's Skrull memory technology to scan their memories for Dar-Benn's weaknesses, and we learned via flashback that Carol actually visited Maria Rambeau after the cancer returned sometime during the blip while Monica was gone, and that Maria never let go of hope that Monica would return. Meanwhile, the Khan family hangs out with Nick Fury on the Saber space station while Flerken egg sacs appear all over the station. Dar-Benn's latest tears in reality rupture the Saber station's elevators, so Nick Fury and the others have to use the Flerken to swallow all the Saber cadets so that carried in those pocket dimensions, all of them can be transferred safely back to Earth. And this is hilariously said to Barbara Streisand's.
I get the gimmick, but it just went on for a long time. I thought it was kind of dumb. I didn't really care for that too much, but whatever.
Rendition of memory from Cats. Carol, Monica, and Kamala confront Dar-Benn.
I will say I did like the action scenes. The choreography was really good.
Reality so large that these hexagonal tiles split off, and the crack widens and widens, opening to another universe. Dar-Benn is destroyed in the energy surge, and Monica realizes that they need one of them to stitch that crack back together from the other side. Carol and Kamala empower Monica so that she becomes her photon form, and she repairs that crack but seals herself on the other side of it. The film ends at the Rambeau home in Louisiana. Carol and Kamala climb into the family's plane, and Carol says that she's just holding on to it until Monica gets back, echoing that hope that Maria had that Monica would come back from the blip someday. Kamala says that they work so good together, which gets her thinking, and then we lead to this film's final scene in New York City. Kate Bishop appears, tossing a slice of pizza to her golden retriever Lucky. So Haley Steinfeld, who also voiced Gwen Stacy in the animated Spider-Verse films, played Hawkeye Clint Barton's protege, Kate Bishop, in the Hawkeye series, and Lucky, the pizza dog, loves pizza. She wears her purple jacket that she ended that series with. To her left are dozens more arrows, presumably the same mix of explosive and Pimtech resizing ones that we saw Clint use on that series. Sitting in the shadows is Kamala Khan. Behind her is one of Kate's archery targets, and to her left, Kate's various trophies from archery, fencing, gymnastics, martial arts, and probably also a trophy for the uncanny ability to immediately flip a quarter like a bullet. Kamala wearing a black ball cap, which might be a nod to Kevin Feige. She says, Kate Bishop, did you think you were the only superhero in the world? Kate smiles and says, I'm 23. And Kamala says, oh, I know. I've been reading up on you. And she holds up the glass tablet that Monica had used earlier in the film to bring up information on her. Saber must be sharing resources with the DODC and other government agencies on superhumans and various vigilantes. By the way, we learned Saber stands for Strategic Aerospace Biophysics. And
my thing is, though, how a teenager get access to that? I mean, I know they left it there, but shouldn't it be like some kind of pass tool, some retina scan, some fingerprint scan, or, freaking Face ID something for to unlock it. It shouldn't be like sitting there wide open for anybody to use.
Exolinguistic response. Kate asks, where did you get that? And Kamala says, I found it under my couch. And I love this because earlier Kamala was sweeping up that mess and she probably swept this awesome tablet under her couch to grab later and just played it cool. Kamala says, you
Exactly. How else
just
you get
became part of a
access to
larger
it, though?
universe, which at the moment is just me mostly. I do have feelers out though. Did you know Ant-Man had a daughter? Kate asks, what do you want? And Kamala says, I'm putting together a team and I want you on it. And then after a pause, she follows up with, please? And Kate kind of just smiles and tilts her head. So obviously Kamala is recreating the iconic very first MCU post-credit scene to the 2008 Iron Man film,
But
in which
setting
Nick
up the
Fury
Young
appeared in the shadows
Avengers.
of Tony Stark's mansion to recruit him to join the Avenger Initiative, and says pretty much the same words.
You think you're the only superhero in the world? Mr. Stark, you become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
So did Nick Fury tell Kamala what he had told Tony Stark? Probably not, because Nick Fury is all about, everything being classified. Did the
Yep.
story get shared by Scott Lang in the This Powered Life podcast that Kamala
Maybe.
used to learn what happened in the Battle of Earth and Endgame? I'm just thinking maybe a transcript or audio recording of that conversation was stored on the tablet. Kamala alludes to Scott Lang's daughter, Cassie Lang, played by Catherine Newton in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But Kamala should know that Scott has a daughter because he brings up Cassie Lang in his book, Look Out for the Little Guy, which Kamala would have read every page of. So yes, Kamala is putting together a Young Avengers lineup that will include herself and Kate Bishop and Cassie Lang. Other
Is it gonna
possible
be a TV
candidates could
show?
include Peter Parker, as well as Wanda's son, Billy
Yeah.
Maximoff, aka Wiccan, who is
Young-
believed to be played
young
by
Black
Joe Block
Panther?
in the
Young
upcoming
T'Challa?
series Agatha Darkhold Diaries. The lineup could also include Hulk's son, Scar, who
Nah.
was introduced at the end of She-Hulk, as well as America Chavez, and Riri
Yeah.
Williams Ironheart.
Yeah,
The
Riri
Young
makes
Avengers
sense.
usually includes Patriot Eli Bradley, who was played by Elijah Richardson in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's also generally Nate Richards, aka Iron Lad, a variant of Kang the Conqueror, and Nazari Thompson played a young Victor Timely in
Nah,
Loki
that's
season
reaching.
3. One idea that we've discussed before is that while the adult Avengers are all off-world dealing with the multiversal
The kids
crisis
take
and
over.
battle world in Avengers Secret Wars, some of these youths could hold things down on Earth. And if that ends up being the case, I don't think Peter Parker would be part of the Young Avengers
No,
lineup.
he's a
And
little
this
older.
could just be a film or like a Disney Plus series or some kind of event that features
It's probably
everybody
Disney
else.
Plus.
Hey, onto the mid-credit
The
scene.
big
Monica
one.
wakes up in hospital
This
bed
is the
with her
big one
mother
right here.
Maria beside her, wrapped in a blanket, conveniently covering what she's wearing. This is a reversal of Monica undusting from the blip beside her mother's empty hospital bed. Monica says, Mom? 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 And Maria just stares
Good
at her
emotion in
confused,
there.
saying, Mom? And Monica says, I missed you so much. Maria says, missed me? And Monica just breaks down saying, I'm so sorry. And a door slides open. And we hear a
Yep.
familiar voice asking, how's our mysterious visitor? And Maria says, she seems a little disoriented. And Monica asks, where are we? What happened? And we see it is Dr. Hank McCoy, aka Beast, played by Kelsey Grammer.
Why
we
was he
last
so
saw
freaked
Grammer
out by a
play the
big
character
giant
in
blue
2014
creature?
X-Men Days of Future Past, part of the Fox X-Men continuity. That movie ended in a restored timeline after Wolverine altered history back in 1973 to prevent the development of Sentinel technology based on Mystique's DNA, erasing that post-apocalyptic future, while also retconning the events of 2006's X-Men The Last Stand. That was the first movie in which Grammer played McCoy. So Wolverine's walking around the X-Mansion in
Yep.
kind of this like happy ending epilogue, and he passes Kelsey Grammer, who's like, ho ho! We see that Scott Summers is alive again, Jean Grey is alive again,
Yep.
they're all teaching at Charles Xavier's school
legacy
alongside
characters.
Storm and Charles. It's like the year 2023 or 2024. Everything's great. But here in this scene, Kelsey Grammer is not wearing the prosthetic makeup. They created a VFX likeness of him using the same type of process that they used for Hulk, Thanos, and She-Hulk. As a result,
Okay.
notice how McCoy's head is a more normal proportion to the rest of his body. He has more pronounced underbite, fangs, and his hair and beard have a more
he looks
aesthetic
better.
sweep to them, in line with the comics and the 90s animated take on the character.
Yeah, he looks
But
better.
He is a CGI character with that same kind of tiny nose and cheekbones, looking a lot
Yeah.
like Ruffalo's character model for Hulk, just blue. Like when we hear Grammer's voice, I will admit it doesn't quite sound like it is coming from this figure on screen. But when Monica asks what happened, McCoy says, we were hoping you could tell us. All we know is that Binary found you. My
Binary.
theory,
I don't
you
remember that
somehow crossed
character.
through a tear in space-time. You are now in a reality parallel to your own, which is, of course, impossible. Maria,
Apparently
aka
not.
Binary, stands, her blanket falling off, revealing her fit, and passing a screen beside Monica that has an X symbol in the corner. And Binary asks, you think there might be confusion happening? And McCoy responds, confusion is but the first step on the journey to knowledge. And Binary's like, "Ugh, okay. And then she says, I'll take it from here. And McCoy says,
What?
Charles asked for an update. And then he
Yeah.
leaves saying, I'll come back and check on you later. And somehow avoids veering into Sideshow Bob to say, oh, Maria, you don't become a mutant scientist without learning a thing or two about the multiverse. And in this wide shot, we see the classic
The
X doors on the basement level of Charles Xavier's mansion. And McCoy is wearing a white lab coat over no
With the-
shirt, but pants events colored dark blue,
Blue and
a
yellow.
yellow border cut off at the calf. Yes, this is a universe where X-Men dress like X-Men. Binary,
Yep.
meanwhile, wears a white and red suit with two
I don't remember
auburn-colored
Binary.
stars on the chest. And we push it on Binary as she asks Monica, "Who are you?" And Monica just sighs, "Oh shit." So if you were listening closely during this scene, you can actually hear two different X-Men film scores. John
Okay.
Ottman's X2 X-Men United theme and John
That's why I
Ottman's
wait for
Days
hearing
of
the
Future
music.
Past score. So you hear the dark brooding. That's from X-Men Days of Future Past, but also
Gotcha.
that's from the X2 theme. This is the latest in
Okay.
Marvel Studios pulling classic X-Men riffs, like hearing Ron Wasserman's animated X-Men theme in Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah.
and the music sting that accompanied the reveal that Kamala Khan is a mutant. So Monica Rambeau has crossed through the multiverse into
Interesting.
an X-Men universe. Now we know this is not the 838 universe from Doctor Strange.
Oh,
and
yeah, I
Multiverse
forgot
of
she
Madness
was
that had a Patrick
in
Stewart,
that
Charles
movie.
Xavier in it, because
no,
Maria
but she was
is
Captain,
alive here,
Marvel,
and she's
though.
binary instead of Captain Marvel, a member of the Illuminati, and McCoy refers to Charles Xavier,
I don't
who
remember
is
the
still
binary
alive in this
character.
reality. But remember, in Multiverse of Madness, that 838 universe Charles referenced a line from 2014's X-Men Days of Future Past.
Just because someone stumbles, loses their way, it doesn't mean they're lost forever.
Just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever.
So I think this right here is a future version of that restored timeline as it was left at the end of X-Men Days of Future
Okay.
Past, as a time travel plot that dealt with Logan's consciousness slipping back into the body of his younger self. Days of Future Past did a great job reconciling the complicated
Okay.
eras
Yeah,
of the
it kinda- it
franchise,
fixed
and I
things,
truly
yeah.
believe Kevin Feige is treating those events as a nexus moment from which the X-Men universe that he's going to cross over with
Can
will
start from.
branch from. It's really
Gotcha.
the most logical move, because
Yeah, it
X-Men
makes
Days of
sense.
Future Past, in my opinion, was the last good X-Men movie, and I'm leaving
I
out
would
Deadpool
agree.
and Logan from that. I'm saying the last good movie that
Yeah,
had
I mean,
X-Men in the
Logan's
title.
my favorite X-Men
after
movie,
X-Men
so-
Days of Future Past, X-Men films proceeded on kind of a new timeline with a younger cast. 2016's X-Men Apocalypse and 2019's Dark Phoenix. During
Yeah,
this time, we
garbage.
also got 2016's Deadpool and 2018's Deadpool 2, which took place in their own meta corner of the X-Men continuity, and 2017's Logan, which took place in the future year of 2029 after most
Yeah.
mutants had died out. Now, some believe that movie takes place in the same continuity of the Days of Future Past happy ending that was in 2023 or 2024, so like 5 years
So
after that.
after that.
But the Logan film implied that it had been decades since young mutants had been springing up naturally, and in Days of Future Past, that was again 2023 or 2024, Charles Xavier's school was thriving. So for it to go from that to Logan in 5 years would just be kind of a
Yeah,
steep
it'd be a-
shift.
yeah, a
Sean
lot.
Levy and Ryan Reynolds have said that when it comes to Deadpool 3, they are not going to touch Wolverine's death in the Logan film. They consider that to be sacred. So I think
I
Logan's
agree.
just going to be part of its own timeline in the multiverse. And I think
Let
for
it
the
be.
X-Men universe
Let
that
it
the
be.
616 universe will cross over with the X-Men characters in Deadpool 3 and in Secret Wars, Feige is going to continue building this Days of Future Past happy ending epilogue, mostly because everyone was there and it's the most opportune
It makes
sandbox
sense,
of
yeah.
characters from that aughts
It's a
era
good-
from
good
which
start
to
point, a
pull
good jump- launching
memorabilia
pad.
cameos like this. The fact that it's Kelsey Grammer and not Nicholas Hoult tells us that it is the older era, not the new younger cast. Besides, Holt seems to be committed to DC to play like Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy, we think. Now, why Beast and not like Charles Xavier, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey,
It-
or like
Beast makes
Wolverine?
more sense.
Well, for the
The
context
scientist.
of the scene, they needed a scientist who would be immediately recognizable as a mutant from the Fox X-Men era, like their universe's Bruce Banner or Tony Stark or Stephen Strange or Wong. And they already featured Patrick Stewart in Multiverse of Madness, so McCoy is the play. But this universe doesn't just have X-Men in it, but other Marvel heroes. So who is Binary?
Yeah, who is Binary?
Actually a recent addition to Marvel Comics, introduced in December 2021. She's a duplicate of Carol Danvers who gets trapped in a Faraday cage and gets formed when Carol's photon blasts are shaped into a human-like form who has assimilated parts of Carol's memories but cannot communicate verbally. So this version of Binary, played by Lashana Lynch,
Okay.
seems to be the Captain Marvel of this reality, in which Maria Rambeau got hit with the cosmic radiation instead. Remember, in the flashback of this movie, Carol even tells Maria that it should have been her. I think the idea is, in every other reality, Maria Rambeau, not Carol Danvers, becomes the cosmically irradiated hero. And note that in this reality, Maria did not have children. Monica
Because
Rambeau
of
was
the-
never born. Kevin Feige was recently quoted in the Marvel official timeline book, an introduction in which he
that's
said, on the
interesting.
multiverse note, we recognize that there are stories, movies and series that are canonical to Marvel, but were created by different storytellers during different periods of Marvel's history. The timeline presented in this book is specific to the MCU's sacred timeline through Phase 4. But as we move forward and dive deeper into the multiverse saga, you never know when timelines may crash or converge. Hint, hint, spoiler alert.
Please
Marvel
get it back
Studios
on
has already
track,
broken
Kevin
that ice with
Feige.
Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man No Way home. And Doctor Strange's spell that opened a purple rift to the multiverse
I
of the
was
Sony
purple
Marvel
again.
characters is the same kind of thing as Dar-Ben's rift opening up to the Fox X-Men continuity following Days of Future Past. So as we look ahead to Deadpool 3, Monica Rambeau is trapped in a reality with that original lineup of live-action X-Men
How's
that
she gonna get
Feige
back?
began his career as an associate producer advising the look and the tone of. While the director Bryan Singer banned Marvel Comics from the set, young Kevin Feige opened
guy.
up his office to Hugh Jackman to come read X-Men comics and learn what Wolverine is all about. Sean Levy recently told Jake's Takes what Jackman's reaction was to them bringing back the classic suit colors.
When we first told Kevin Feige that Hugh Jackman wanted to join the movie, my recollection is damn near the first thing he said was, okay, but let's go with the blue and yellow. Just
Nice.
tell me we're going with the blue and yellow. And then when I approached Hugh with that idea, he's like, F yeah. Now you have to bleep me. But you get it. He was like, hell yes.
So, for Avengers Secret Wars, expect a brawl among classic MCU Avengers and Fox-era X-Men actors that are wearing more vibrant suits. I
That'd be
recently made the
interesting.
case in a different video that 2014's Days of Future Past, 2016's Deadpool, and 2017's Logan are better than most MCU films. Not all MCU films, but most, which pissed a lot of you off. I'm not surprised. Look, I think the bad X-Men movies
Logan
are
definitely.
much worse than the bad MCU movies, but I'm just saying this, that
Yeah, I hate
Marvel
that version of
Studios
Storm.
isn't the only franchise that has made good Marvel movies. I just think we need to rewatch all of the X-Men films, which is something this channel will be doing in 2024. So our Easter egg breakdown of the Marvels film is coming to the channel on Saturday. It's gonna be hosted by myself and Jessica Clemens. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Subscribe to all 3 channels in the New Rockstars Network. Follow
Alrighty, y'all. So that was the end credit scenes. We got a little more detail and an explanation of what they think is going to happen forward. I'm truly excited for the X-Men. The Young Avengers one, I'm just like, it's okay. I'm excited for it, but I'm more excited for the X-Men finally coming to the MCU. Just really hope they do it right, because the X-Men are like my shit. You know what I mean? But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think what he said is likely to happen with the Marvel's X-Men and everything? Or do you think they're going to go a different route? Or you have your own theory? Like, what do you think? Leave it down below. Until next time, guys, I will see you when I see you. Peace.